What was it about Bitcoin that really made you so passionate about it and see it as a fix for so many problems? Like, why do you care so much about Bitcoin?
I think it is kind of the enormity of the set of problems that it provides the solution in whole or in part. So I just think it really, I mean, it's really, it has so much meaning. It's so important. Like, how can it not be motivating once you understand what it is? Peter Thiel, in his book From Zero to One, you can quibble with him on his politics and a million other things, but he did have a great 2x2 in there where he talked about, how do people or how do cultures view the future? And, it was basically like definite versus indefinite and optimist versus pessimist. And basically there was no culture left on the planet that has a determinate optimist view of the future. The only people that have a determinate optimist view of the future today really are Bitcoiners. There are people, like America kind of has like a indefinite optimist that's leaning even a little bit more toward pessimist. It was definitely an optimist when he wrote the book. The CCP has kind of like a determinate pessimist view on the world, and that's how they sort of, play realpolitik and stuff like that. But Bitcoin, because you have something that you're actually working for that really can change how the world functions and make it better in so many ways. I don't know, it's incredibly motivating and purposeful to work toward that and to try to pull as much of what we think is going to happen with, greater economic cooperation and less friction between monetary systems and the unlocking of greater human freedom and productivity and all of these things that we see. Like, I don't want to be nebulous about it in case somebody happens to be tuning into your show or seeing me for the first time. Like, there are very concrete things that we expect to happen because we 8 billion humans have better money that's state-free and that's fair. So we can, talk about as many of those as you want to. But it is very concrete what we're working for. And Bitcoin will create other issues because it's replacing so many things, and there will be new opportunities created. But the general thrust of it is that it will make things dramatically better for us humans.
Yeah, well, we always say Bitcoin fixes this, and you touched on some of those ideas of more access to opportunity and more inclusion and maybe a more fair system in a way that is based on competition. But why, based on your background and who you are as a person, why is that important to you to see a world like that?
I mean, I've always been like a justice seeker. I think that was like a very strong thread through my journalism career. And one of the things that attracted to me about journalism was, adhering to objectivity and, standards. And I've always wanted to know like what's true, what's not true, and what's a maybe. And I've always gravitated toward people that had a very firm understanding of what they knew and what they didn't. And I've always been very, sort of repulsed by people that thought they knew something that wasn't true and weren't aware of what the demarcation is between what they definitely know and what they think they know.
Well, you're calling them out now. A lot of those people, right? That must be part of that, right? We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you then, so for you, this idea of Bitcoin versus crypto, what made you get it in a way that's so simple that anyone watching this with no business background, maybe no Bitcoin knowledge at all, why Bitcoin, not crypto?
You can summarize it by saying that only Bitcoin is deserving of a monetary premium. And so thus far, we humans have only found one thing that works, that needs a blockchain, that needs a time chain, and it's money. And Bitcoin dominates all of the altcoins across a whole host of potential criteria as a better money than they are. And this comes from being first, it comes from being immutable, it comes from having a culture of forward compatibility, which is like using soft forks instead of hard forks. Like, there are a whole host of reasons why Bitcoin is better and more trustworthy than any altcoin can be. It's possible that in the earliest years, maybe 2010, maybe 2011, that another project could have done it and could have superseded Bitcoin. Conditional upon that not happening, I would say by 2012 or 2013, the race was over, and that it was impossible for a new cryptocurrency to beat Bitcoin at the game of being money.
So when someone is watching this and they still don't understand the nuances and the difference, what do you say to someone who asks, what are these other currencies then? They're based on cryptography, right? You need a digital signature. They have a blockchain. So what makes it different?
Yeah, so they're just not actually decentralized. So there's a common acronym. They say DINO, decentralized in name only. And that's what you see with things like Ethereum that hard fork regularly, based on management decisions, or, completely change their consensus algorithm. So now you've got like a completely new currency and the old one is gone. And, so any sort of longevity, or as they say, the Lindy effect of how, you can trust something more the longer it's not been changed. You kind of start from zero again when you change everything. And you do that every time you hard fork, which, all of these companies, all of these companies really do that with these altcoin projects. And then this idea that there's, something going on in like, Web3 or blockchain, like that, it's easy enough just to look at, none of them need a token. So the price for running a decentralized application historically, and all we can really see in present, is running a node on that network. You don't actually need something else. If you did need to pay for something, you can just use dollars or Bitcoin. You don't need your own friction token, your own Chuck E. Cheese token that only works in this ecosystem. And if you did require that for some reason, there's absolutely no reason for someone that needs to use that to hold it outside of that system, because there are better stores of value. So even if you do need to use this, S-coin, ship coin, as Matt Kratter says, if you need to use a ship coin inside of an ecosystem, there's still no reason to hold it
as money, right?
As money, exactly.